Welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Inside Track. I've got my great buddy Glenda. How are you?
Really good, Ryan. Nice to see you. It seems very weird to be back in this setting.
Absolutely. Now, you know why you're back on this episode and not any other, because this is our 100th episode. Now, I know obviously you're not hosting with us anymore, but we started this 3.5-4 years ago, something like that. I might even dig out some of the old pictures to put on at the start of this, just from our original. And 100 episodes, 8.5 series, and to be fair, you were a large part of that. I mean, what did you do? 6-7 series, something like that. So
it's 5 or 6,
yeah. So obviously you've helped grow this, and I think it's a real poignant moment to get you back on and talk about this. One, because you do some amazing stuff, and it's great to have you on to talk about that. But secondly, our 100th episode is quite an achievement, I think. So thank you ever so much for joining us for this one.
Oh, no worries. I think it's important to also say, Ryan, that you give a huge amount to the fitness industry. And I know people that have picked up episodes that have found it super helpful, super informative. And I'm a great believer, if you help one person, that ripple effect is fantastic. So, I think it's a great day for you as well. You give so much. So I appreciate you, Ryan.
Oh no, absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Glenda. Now we'll crack on because obviously since you've jumped from the podcast because you were too busy doing all your other stuff, it'd be great to have a quick synopsis in terms of what it is you are doing now, because obviously you do a lot with commercial, you do a lot with health and fitness, you're all over the place. So it'd be quite nice to understand. Obviously, the book's been launched as well. That must be a year ago, 18 months ago.
The book is actually coming up for 2 years.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
So if no one's bought the Resilience as Fudge book and read it, you're missing out on an absolute trick. It's an amazing book, written in. I'll let you explain it, because it's written differently than just a self-help book or a. It's done extremely differently than just a normal book that you sit and read, isn't it, Glenda?
Yeah, I mean, the idea of Resilient as Fudge was, I understand that people are super busy, don't have a lot of time. And, I've got nearly 30 years of reading behind me, all the best books that we could, start to list. And there's too many to list. But essentially, I thought what would be great is if I could use a lot of these psychological concepts or ideas and help people circumnavigate the need to do as much reading. But I didn't want to stop there. I really wanted it to be a journey for people where they could pick it up and essentially be a mindset coach in their pocket.
Yeah.
Which is what it ends up, most people say about it. It's one of these books that when you go through a life lesson each week or whenever you decide to pick it up, it's one of these books that you keep going back to just meet you where you're at any time. And it's really lovely. So like you said, it's more than a book. It's a program, it's a course, and most importantly, it's your own unique journey for, that's going to take you probably on average a year. So it's really lovely.
That's the great thing about it. It is a learning experience, isn't it? It's a development experience. Because I've got so many books that I have on my desk and on my shelves, and you read them and you don't really go back to them. You take the knowledge and the snippets that you want out of it. But this one, you do get to keep going back. And I don't know, if you read it 2 years ago, you could go back to it now and start again. And it's a great thing. Now, the good thing about that is it also has led to RAF as a program.
Yeah, absolutely. So since, I've been busy and not been on the podcast, there's been quite a lot happen. But one of my big focuses moving forward is I wanted Resilient as Fudge to be accessible to a lot more people. And I think that we can all appreciate that the only way to do that really is to build out a digital product. But having experience in the past of being a consultant with very successful digital providers out there, what I didn't want was just a digital product. So when Resilient as Fudge was developed into the product that it now is, we're not launched yet, but it's very soon.
It looks really smart, to be fair. Obviously,
Yeah,
I've had the insider track on it, and it does look really smart.
yeah, I'm really pleased with it. But what's so lovely is not only can you have the digital journey and go through it at your leisure and pick up all of the life lessons by very short, fast, impactful, and also really profound videos with all of the resources. We also do now a weekly mastermind, both live and recorded, and then a monthly G&T hour, which is a
Oh,
Q&A hour.
I'm liking that.
I think that what's so important, and when people asked why I did that, is because sadly, a lot of people think resilience is something that you get and then you've got it all. And actually, we all know that you might feel resilient this month, and something or a few things might occur in your life that mean that you don't feel so resilient, maybe by the time you get to April, for example.
Absolutely.
And what it teaches us about resilience is it's not a stable construct. So therefore, because it's shifting and moving all the time, it's a life commitment to practice. And that's what I love about what we've done with the platform.
Just briefly, I know it's obviously there's books on this, and there's a lot written on it, Glenda. What would you say, as quick or as long as you want, really? What resilience is? Because a lot of people they don't really understand what it is. They think it's a bit fluffy and it's a bit, but it's not. It's obviously if you do it right and you get your brain in the position it needs to be, you're so much more powerful going forward. So what would you say is the best explanation of what you do and what
Oh,
resilience is? Sorry,
you
I
know,
know.
I think
Sorry.
that's really important. I think that the challenge, and it's a bit like well-being, is that resilience means different things to different people. But
Yeah,
ultimately, we've moved a long way from the old-fashioned definition that, you know, it's just about bouncing back from failure.
yeah.
True resilience not only allows you to bounce back from life's adversities and challenges, but it also allows you to move forward stronger than you were before, because it's the notion that you really build out resources that you bring forward with you. And those resources are not just psychological resources, but they're also resources like the people around you, for example,
Yeah.
or the content that you consume. But ultimately, when we talk about resilience, we talk about the three domains. Do you think in a way that serves you? Do you feel day to day that you are thriving? And ultimately, does that thinking and feeling help you behave in a way that is helping you to thrive, not just survive? And with those three domains, we really build that out over time. You know, we talk about building the mindset, the skill set, and the tool set of resilience.
And yeah, exactly. And it's not something that like you say, it's not something you just put down, because it's
Yeah.
things change from week to week, month to month. You may have had a fantastic year. I mean, I know more than anybody. I 2 years ago, training 6 days a week, everything was happy, you know what I mean? And then last year I had a horrendous year with my chronic fatigue, and it's a matter of finding those ways of coping with that and coming back, and
Yeah.
and then having those so you go forward in a nice upward trajectory, rather than sort of either dropping back into it
Yeah.
or having these peaks and troughs, and that's really important for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, what's really fascinating is most people fall into two categories. They're either going to be resilient in their thoughts, but not their actions,
Yeah.
or they're resilient in their actions, but not in their thoughts. And either of those combinations come with challenges, right?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I'm a great believer that we need resilience more than we've ever needed it.
Well, I think society's changed massively. There's so many things that can interact with us, that can send us either way on the scale, that I think if you're not practicing some sort of resilience management,
Yeah.
it's probably the best way to put it. Then you really need to seriously look at it, because like you say, anything from social media to normal life to family, there's so much now that's interacting with us on a daily basis, that I think you have to have a strategy. Otherwise you putting yourself at risk.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the more resilient you become, you are more able to regulate your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. And the challenge that we've now added into the mix is we have so much distraction, which is what you've talked about. So it's got more and more difficult for you as an individual to have the discipline to remove the noise.
Yeah.
And that makes the need to develop your ability to regulate how you think, how you feel, and how you behave more important than ever before.
Absolutely. And just out of interest, with the program, I mean, obviously it's a lifelong program. What sort of things do you cover within that?
Oh, well, the good thing is we followed the exact theme development that was through the book. So the book came with 12 themes related to resilience, things like zest, connection, gratitude, thoughts, environment. So we cover 12 themes, but we talk about the 12 themes, but we then talk about 52 life lessons.
Wow.
So we have a life lesson for every week of the year. But what's really important in the platform is we don't talk about weeks, because you can join it at any point, which is super cool. But I just love to reference it to people as old wisdom for each new day, right?
I love that.
It's simple, but it's super profound. And there's a lot of beauty in that. And, you know, it's funny, Ryan, because my coach, when I was being even a little bit tough on myself when we were doing the development, you know, when things are not maybe going as fast as you want. And he gave me the biggest reminder about celebrating what's already gone before. And that's a big life lesson that we talk about, taking in the good, because, you know, our brains are searching all the time for negative, searching for threat. So if we can rewire for the good in things, and it was only after that piece of work with my coach that I realized the beauty in the book, because to get, you know, 52 psychological concepts written with each one in under 2 paragraphs is actually not easy.
God. Well, especially when there's so much science behind this as well. You know what I mean? It's not just mumbo jumbo that someone's made up. There's a lot of science behind this, and to try and fit that into two paragraphs or 1 page is some going.
Yeah, I mean, and that's to me what I've really taken away from this last 6 months, is to actually stop for a minute and really appreciate the good that was done to actually develop the RAF framework in the way that I have. And, you know, I'm going to hang on to that and enjoy that moment, because it's easy to let it skip past.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've known each other for a long time, and it's great to see where you were. You know, obviously you had the club, and obviously you sold that, and then you moved into more full time in terms of what you're doing now. And it's great to see that journey, because it's you have gone from club owner to international expert in wellness and resilience. But yeah, it's great to see that journey, and obviously it's not been easy.
No.
Obviously you had confidence times when you're going, oh, not sure, and everybody has that, and I don't think that's not a bad thing. It allows you to reset, it allows you to relook at things and go forward. But to be honest now, I mean, there can't be an expert out there that surpasses what you're doing in the field. And you've got some amazing programs. So you've got RAF, you've got the wellness coaching, which is probably a good time to talk about that, because obviously you guys are, I know for years, even at Solgenic, you had such an array of people that worked within the club. Yes, you had your gym and your classes, but you also had your physios, you had your mindful, you had, it must have been 9 or 10 different experts working within the club as well. So I know how important that is for you. And then obviously now we've got this wellness coaching plan that you're looking to drive out. Do you want to explain a little bit about what you're trying to do with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think it's important that a lot of people do know me for the work that I do in resilience. But obviously, as a typical entrepreneur, I like to have a few different business interests. But I'm always really I want people to appreciate that everything that I do is within wellness. So they're all very complementary. But, in terms of the work that I've been doing in We Talk Wellbeing and in the corporate wellbeing space, and you were right, I don't just do the fitness industry there. We do, pharmaceutical companies to property management companies, because, hey, no matter what you do, we need to have people who are well and people who are resilient. So We Talk Wellbeing covers that off. But my big passion is that the fitness industry, to me, has missed a very important piece of the jigsaw. And more than ever before after COVID, the customer is very educated about what it means to be well holistically.
Absolutely.
Not just in terms of your physical health. And I just want to reiterate, because you've mentioned it, but when I had clubs, I was doing wellbeing before it was ever sexy.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I was doing wellbeing in clubs with the collaboration of practitioners 15 years ago. And what I've noticed in the fitness industry, and I really want to stress this, if you are a club that does CrossFit and that's what you are and that's what you want to provide, and yes, there's mental health benefits from doing that, but you don't want to explore further than mainly the physical, I think that you should just do what you are on the tin.
Yeah.
But the industry keeps telling us that we do holistic wellbeing. And I've never really seen that morph development work. There's been a lot of talking. And I have got to be honest, the last 24 months was really, really energizing for me, because the talk was much greater than I've seen it in 10 years. And everybody's now talking the buzzwords about, you know, holistic health, well-being, longevity, etc. But we cannot do that if we don't upskill the workforce.
Oh, absolutely. Well, if you think 10, 15 years ago, if you talked holistic wellness, it was yoga, Pilates.
Yeah, of course. And now
and that's not it. Let's be honest.
Now we really understand that the big opportunities, those lifestyle factors. But the challenge we have is that true coaching is not instructing. And we have a workforce that were trained to be instructors, not coaches. Yeah. And really, to actually support people in lifestyle change, it's complex. It's definitely got lots of moving parts. It takes a very novel skill set. And what I'm really, really passionate about is, before I retire, I'd love to see as a legacy piece that I had an impact into bringing wellbeing, health and wellbeing coaches into the fitness industry that won't just give lip service to all of the other allied health professionals, but truly collaborate. And I think there's a massive opportunity there. I know we've talked about it loads, Ryan, that we've never really moved the dial on the penetration rate that we get.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say that.
And I think we have a big opportunity. So really, you know, this work around the development of the health and wellbeing coach is, you know, building momentum now, because I'm writing the new wellbeing call for Active IQ.
Wow.
Which is really cool and exciting. That should be, you know, in the next few months, that's going to be ready for release. And I'm actively now recruiting for our first wellbeing coaches to be fully trained and go into clubs, which is pretty exciting.
It's really exciting, because I mean, obviously you see me post, and we talk about this all the time. There's 85% of the population that that isn't a member of a gym. Now, we have to sort of caveat it a little bit, in the sense that a lot of those will be taking part in sport and doing whatever. But the fact that we're still stuck on this 15%, yes, we've moved the dial. I think in my 25 years, we've moved the dial 3%. Yeah. And that's frightening when you think, well, there's a lot more awareness about it. There's a lot more, especially after COVID, the reasons to train, the reasons to be healthy. But the problem we've got is we're still pushing people, like you say, on this fitness element, where a lot of people, especially if you're overweight or you're nervous, or there's fundamental underlying reasons why you're not taking part in exercise. And a lot of that comes down to the mindset. It comes down to the type of exercise they're doing, understanding it. And this is where the wellbeing coaches come in saying it's not a softer approach, it's just a different approach to getting people to train. And what we're doing is we're intimidating a lot of the times these people who are like, classic example for myself. I've been out of fitness now for 12 months. I was training 6 days a week over a year ago, been out of fitness 12 months. And even I'm a little bit hesitant to go back and join. I'm starting to feel better. I need to go to the gym. But now I've been around the industry 25 years. So imagine how you feel if you're a little bit overweight, self-conscious, never been a member of a club before. But the great thing about the well-being stuff is it isn't just about going in and hammering yourself in a class or getting in a gym and sweating. Yeah. There's so much more to it. It's looking at sleep. It's looking at your diet. It's looking at habits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's so much more to it. And you bring someone in on that perspective, you can easily then gradually transition them into the gym environment that then they're starting to train well. But at that point, they've got all the strengths behind them in terms of the mental strength and everything else behind them to carry on the journey long term.
Well, we always talk about this idea that you meet the client where they're at. I've always found this really interesting because when we start people on a gym program, we tell them, we really want to see you a minimum of 3 times a week. Now, I understand there's the magic number there for retention. But for someone that's not ready for 3 times a week, it could be actually the reason for attrition. Yeah. And actually, we've got to go deeper. And I just want to reiterate what I said. The emergence of health and wellbeing coaches is not for every operator. And I think that's okay. Yeah. Know what you are on the tin. But if you are genuinely saying that you are all about holistic wellbeing and you're passionate about really upping your numbers and, bringing in a segment of the population that we haven't managed to attract, we've got to not do the same thing and expect a different result.
Oh, exactly, and that's what we do every year. We talk it up and then never actually deliver. And I know that there's obviously a big movement out there trying to link up with the NHS, trying to link up with the various groups and stuff. But I think for me, that's possibly jumping a bit too far ahead before we're running before we can walk. If we can get the health coaches in the clubs and proving that's working, then it's a lot easier to link up to the NHS and everything else. But that we're almost going to there, and we haven't quite nailed the clubs yet.
Genuinely, this is a killer question, I guess. Could we demonstrate our return on the client's investment across a range of wellbeing factors? Could we actually, as a sector, prove what we do right now?
Probably not, no.
Because we haven't really collated the data either to demonstrate our use case. And actually, that's what I'm super excited about. What I'd like to see is that a health and wellbeing coach emerges into a club, and we look at a group of people that have a health and wellbeing coach support package versus members that don't. It would be a really great thing to look at to see what difference we have in our, key performance indicators, in terms of, did we get longer before they left? Did we get higher satisfaction rates? Did they get fitter? Did their sleep improve? Did their lifestyle improve? Was their satisfaction with life increased? Whatever measures we're going to select, it's doable, but I feel we need that use case. I feel we need the evidence.
But yeah, it's interesting. But I guess as an industry, I think we need to start gathering that sort of data, not just for the wellbeing coaches, but across the board. I mean, how many of our clubs out there could actually say, I can tell you how many of my members have achieved their aims, how many members have improved in their fitness. Yeah. A lot of it is anecdotal. Oh yeah, look, Mary over there, she's she looks better, she's coming 5. Yeah, but actually, has she achieved the goals? Is she happier? Has she lost the weight that she set out to achieve? And most clubs, and I'm not saying all, there are some amazing clubs out there that really monitor their members and everything else, but I would say as an average club, they don't have a clue. They might know the guys that are doing personal training, but other than that, I bet they don't know the results of their members.
But I've said this before. Obviously, some of the physical measures are harder to collate, but your members pass the reception desk every time they come in. So technically, you could, at points in the year, ask a member to complete their profile of mood, for example,
Yeah.
so that we could see how the gym usage is affecting the happiness of our members. And that's powerful, right? We all want to be happy. But I think, what's really interesting is the frustrating part here is that we do seem to want to go down this pivot, but it's a question of, are clubs going to be patient enough? Because, there's a lot of people out there that think that they can qualify a health and wellbeing coach and want it done in a day. Now, that's not a qualification. You might have some CPD, but genuinely to upskill this sector, it's going to need more than a day.
Oh, absolutely. But we've been saying this ever since the pivot sort of started. There was a lot of people coming into it saying that we're now this, we're now an expert,
Yeah.
and you're sort of going, but your background's X. You've had no training, but suddenly you're now this expert, and I think it needs people like yourself. It's obviously not only you. There's other people around. Most of them you either work with or know very well. But it needs that expert training to come in. A bit like you can't be a personal trainer in a day. You know what I mean? Realistically, I know there's probably some courses out there you can do, but to be a very good personal trainer, you can't.
And I hope this resonates with people, but health and wellbeing coaching is an interesting place to start, because at least as a personal trainer, once you qualify and you have someone in front of you, you could devise a program immediately. And yes, you might have to do tweaks, but you genuinely know most people will do a bit of cardio and some strength work. But you might, as a health and wellbeing coach, in your very first interaction with someone, they might just say, Ryan, completely and utterly overwhelmed, don't even know where to start. I just feel like giving up. It's a hard place to start.
Wow. It's a bit like when we talk weekly.
And it's about understanding how you unpick that. But on top of that, it's not also natural to lots of operators out there of their understanding of how to commercialize wellbeing either.
Yeah.
So there's the strategic part of that. And I think that that's what's allowed me to, with this new business, the idea and what we're going to do, and we're literally ready for the first group to go in. But it's not just about putting the health and wellbeing coach in. It's also about working with the operator to give them a solution, not just a coach. So the idea is that we're building out licensed programs so that they can start to really feel like they have a strategic partner, rather than them, trying to navigate, which is something inherently pretty complex. So
I guess the other thing with it,
simple.
yeah, exactly. And the other thing with it, where is you write someone a program, you probably won't see him for 6 weeks, and it's a fairly simple thing to introduce. Right, we're going to have inductions at the start. This is what we're going now. Obviously, I work with clubs all the time, and that's not what we should be doing, but that's what a lot of clubs will do. But obviously, as a wellbeing coach, you have to. The journey's a lot longer, which for a club is brilliant, because you're getting this stickiness now with the client, because it's not a quick. It's quick, right? We'll write your program, go away and do it. You've now got this interaction on a regular basis, so your retention should improve. Your obviously, if they're paying for it, then your revenues are increasing. So there is a real commercial value to putting these coaches into the
Absolutely. And I think when we talk about health and wellbeing coaching, people automatically think one-to-one. But we know the power of group. We know that the retention in things like boutique clubs tends to be higher because of the power of community. And you can gain that in health and wellbeing coaching, where you could offer lifestyle support in groups that are then also driving retention, but you could have non-members in those lifestyle programs, which give you leads generation at the same time. And that's a really clever way of introducing health and wellbeing into the club, that you offer group lifestyle programming. It might be a 12-week course. And then at the end of that course, not only have you maybe let the member join that course as a potential renewal offer, or they've paid for it as a value add, but you can also have non-members in there. And over the time of that program, you are guiding them towards becoming a member.
And what's funny is clubs wouldn't think twice about doing a 6 or 12-week fitness program, you know, group personal training.
Yeah.
So it's only the same thing, but with a different angle to attract a different type of client into the club.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, what's quite exciting here is myself and the team around me, we're working hard to think about joining both dots. So it's not just about, you know, having the qualified health and wellbeing coach trained, ready to go, excited to do the work. It's also that strategic piece that I was saying to you. So the idea is we're working now on what our programming is going to look like and the key areas that we know where the opportunity is. So one big one, and I hope I can bring it up, and it's a bit controversial because with the GLP-1 medications, it's a really exciting opportunity because, and I want to give a bit of lived experience on this one. My sister has lived with clinical obesity her whole life. She is on GLP-1 medication, and she might have to be for a long time because her risks not on it are way bigger than the risks when she's on it. But in her journey, there's been a huge lack of support. That wraparound support and all of those lifestyle factors. She keeps saying to me all the time, Glenda, I've learned more from talking to you than I do from where I then go to get my medication. And there are great providers out there that do the wraparound support, like Bodylines. Sally, the founder of Bodyline, they do an amazing job of all of that wraparound support, but it's not everywhere. But even great providers like that, they're not health and fitness specialists.
Yeah.
And the number one thing when you start to use those medications that we really need is to protect our bones, because we lose so much lean muscle. So protecting our bones and also protecting our muscle. Now, what is the easiest way to put muscle on and protect our bones? It's weight-bearing exercise.
Yeah.
So actually, we are the solution for that. But you said earlier, we've been intimidating to that very audience at times. Now, I want to say, because I think it's controversial, but I really believe it. And you did a post about this the other week, Ryan. There are people out there now choosing, not like my sister, who might just have a small amount of weight to lose, and technically they're not a candidate for it. And that's a scary prospect that we've got that going on. But they're choosing the quick fix, not having to do all the hard work. So if we don't engage with this population, our number could go down.
Absolutely. But also, I mean, because we've talked about this quite a bit, and it's like you know, I took it for a couple of months, and because I was putting on weight, I wasn't training, and I wanted to feel a bit better. Also, from a health perspective,
Sure.
It didn't help, but I honestly believe that it's an opportunity, because you're going to have people that are either obese or technically obese. You know, I mean, I think I'm technically obese, but I'm not that big, and but what it does is they don't have the confidence then to go to the gym. Now, in my book, if we can engage with something like this, but also have the knowledge and understanding within the clubs, that when someone says I'm on this, we know how to encourage them and train it. And because what we want ultimately, yes, they're going to lose weight, because you do. That's I mean, I lost about 3 stone in 2 months. It was mental.
Wow.
But what it does then, it gives them the body confidence, because a lot of people don't go to gyms because they're overweight. They see people in the gym that are not like them, but if they can lose a little bit of weight, suddenly now they've got the confidence. I'm looking better. Get them in the clubs and train them. they don't have to be on the GLP-1s for life. I mean, obviously your sister's different, and there will be people like that. But most people, 2 or 3 months, get themselves into a position where they feel healthier. They're more likely to take that next healthy choice. They've already probably started eating better, because that's what the GLP, it stops you eating a lot of the, I didn't want chocolate, I didn't want sweets, I didn't want all that sugary stuff. And so you start eating better. Now, if you can change that lifestyle then within the club, but what we're finding at the minute, a lot of you'll see it all over the internet, anti-GLP-1, I work in the fitness, anti. Now, yes, it does have its negatives, like the loss of lean muscle mass, impact on the bones. But if you understand that, and you've got people like yourselves and your colleagues that are going to train this out so they understand it, suddenly now you can take that population and go, actually, guys, now you've achieved that. Let's get you in the gym and move that healthy lifestyle forward. Because I think that's what is preventing a lot of people. They're uncomfortable. They're nervous.
Well, I'd go, I think everything that you say there is with merit, because what's interesting is we absolutely do have a population at the moment who are engaging with the medication that are not the right candidates. And the good news is, with recent developments and making it harder to get a hold of that, hopefully we're going to make progress there and reduce the people that are accessing that should not be using those medications as standard. But what I really want to emphasize here, whether it's the person's on medication or not, for people living in a larger body, they might decide to only exercise at a much further point down in the journey. But if the fitness club was offering health and wellbeing and lifestyle programming, they might come in, not even look at the gym, start on this lifestyle program with the club, and who are they going to choose when they then have built up some quick wins and some success with regards to confidence, nutrition, sleep, their energy? What's going to be their choice if they then want to use a gym?
Exactly.
So in actual fact, whether people are on medication or not, the opportunity for me that I see is that we have to engage now with people in larger bodies. And why it's exciting with my colleagues is we have, one of our colleagues is an absolute out-and-out expert on obesity. One is an out-and-out expert in client relationship. And then where I get super excited is to understand how living in a larger body can drain your resilience and also impact your mental health. So from a psychological perspective, there is a huge amount of work that we have to do there. And it starts with trust.
Absolutely. But it's trust in terms of also understanding in terms of understanding what these products do and how they can impact both mentally, physically, and then trying to then obviously take them on a journey that keeps them within a healthier lifestyle, which is what you guys are trying to do. Now, just out of interest, are you guys delivering training on this? What's the
the plan is we're joining all the dots at the moment, so we're nearly there. We can offer under our license a self-employed health and wellbeing coach, or we train existing staff on site. Once we know they're qualified as health and wellbeing coaches, we give them the CPD of the first programming. And for us, our first major program is for people living in larger bodies.
And here's an interesting stat for you that I heard this morning, funnily enough. Did you know, now this is a US one, but just to put into context.
Probably don't, because I struggle to watch the news these days.
Well, I read this online, but apparently the average American body fat is now higher than the body fat of the pig population.
Wow. Yeah, that's very concerning. But I want to say something, Ryan, that's really interesting as well. And operators should really pick up on this. For someone that will have to, throughout their life, use products to support their weight management and might not have a choice because, as I've spoke to you about before, there is a much bigger percentage of people than we realise who have genetic factors that predispose them to becoming more obese, with all things being equal.
It's a really interesting study. The one from, is it Norway it came out of?
Yeah, there's a range of studies at the moment, but the evidence is now demonstrating that the issue is bigger than we realise. Now, if someone has got genetic factors that predispose them to obesity, and they have to potentially use lifestyle factors alongside a product or form of medication, and that is going to be something that they have to do long term, the maintenance of that gives us an even bigger opportunity for the fitness industry in terms of length of stay.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
those people have to maintain, and what we do know, and it's the biggest fear for people who have those genetic factors, if they had to come off the medication that they use and then completely remove those lifestyle factors, their set point weight will probably go even further the other way. So
Wow.
that's their biggest fear. And I'm sure you can agree with me, it's a massive motivation to stay.
Oh, hugely, especially if they're getting results. I think that's the
That's
other
my
thing.
point.
A lot of these people will, especially if it is there are genetic factors and they've tried the dieting, they've tried all these things, never got results. They're still obese. And I know there's a body positive movement out there, and you should be. But let's be honest, a lot of people who are overweight don't want to be in that position. So if they can find ways of getting results, whether that be through the support of the GLP-1 drugs, but also lifestyle and coaching, they'll take it. They will pay for it. They will take it, and they will feel better for themselves. And
And
there's
you will
very
have a
few
very
people I've
happy
ever met that
customer.
gone, "I've lost weight. I don't feel better."
Yeah, but you will have a very happy customer because, and I've had the lived experience with my sister's journey, but that is the most important thing to her. And it was also the biggest limiting factor in her entire life.
Oh,
So if you can support that, the loyalty that you're going to get from your customer is going to give you huge lifetime value.
In the end of the day, for a lot of these people, it's a chronic
one,
disease.
yeah,
It is
and
a chronic disease.
that's only one product, only one program that we're interested in. So, you know, we are really homing in on people in a larger body. But for example, if you said to me, well, where could you see it go next? You know, the obvious ones are men's health, because it's very easy to forget that men have completely unique needs as well.
Well,
So
you only have to have a look at the drop in things like testosterone after the age of 40.
absolutely.
It's huge. The male menopause is one of the biggest challenges to Western society.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to take it. I'm on hormone treatment because of my low testosterone, and that was causing major challenges. And when you look at things like the suicide rates and stuff like that in middle-aged men, and a lot of it can be attributed down to things like low testosterone and stuff like that. So absolutely, and what over the years, women's health and empowering women and all that sort of stuff has been massive. But there's been nothing on the men's side. So I definitely think there's a huge opportunity.
And look, you know, I'm still surprised we haven't seen either a shoot off brand from one of the bigger brands, as you know they've done with some of the boutique offerings, you know, small box within the big box,
Yeah.
or franchise. But there is an opportunity here for a business for people in larger bodies.
Oh, I think so. I think so. I mean, you only have to look at Weight Watchers and Slimming World and how well they've done over the years, and and there's not really much to that other than most of it is cleverly designed calorie control.
But what's super interesting is they're all having to pivot their business now.
Oh, I can well imagine that.
Imagine that the changes there are huge. So that's an interesting area to watch. But you know, Ryan, this is exciting, but it also gives me a bit of fear, because our industry needs now we need a few really, really keen operators to grab the opportunity and be a role model for the rest.
Yeah, we do. Unfortunately, we're still not a conjoined industry. We never have been, and I think we've got a long way to go. I think if we were a lot closer as an industry between the clubs and the operators, I think this would be easier rollout. But unfortunately, we still run in silos, and we've still got a lot of work to do on that. So we do need those 3 or 4 to step up and go, right, we're gonna take this on, and allow the rest to follow. Now, in terms of God, that's flown by, Glenda. So we're in terms of where you go next. I mean, obviously you're doing a hell of a lot of speaking. You're at Spa Life, and you were in Dubai last year, Ursa the year before. So or what, HFA now. So what's next for you?
So super focused, 3 main things. Resilient as Fudge. I would love to think we can help 1 million people become more resilient.
Wow.
I like to say that we didn't really get taught it at school the way I would like it taught.
I don't think we were taught
And
it.
I feel like life is knocking it out of us. So resilience is, for me, absolutely critical for life happiness, and never more so than now. And with all the uncertainty, it is about becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable, or making the uncertain as certain as possible.
Yeah,
and to do that, you need a skill set.
Yeah.
So resilience is absolutely one of my main focuses. Obviously, in terms of my second focus, equally, is to really drive the wellbeing agenda, specifically into the fitness industry. And between resilience and wellbeing, driving the keynote speaking, and there's nothing more rewarding than getting the message out there. So,
and to be fair, I've seen a couple of your talks, and they are amazing to watch. So if anybody does get an opportunity to see Glenda talk, they should really sit down and listen, because they are quite often interactive, not just listening to Glenda talk. So you've definitely got a talent in that. Now, all your details. Now, if anybody wants to get in touch as regards to the wellbeing coaches and stuff like that, is it literally just a matter of dropping you a note on LinkedIn or email?
Yeah, absolutely. They can drop me a LinkedIn message, or glenda@wetalkwellbeing.com, and I'd love to chat. Exciting times, Ryan. I would want people to take away the message that there's a big opportunity here.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's that needs to be the number one message. I think it's not about pivoting their whole business. It's just integrating what is a fundamental skill set, really, that people should have. So I think those clubs that start and get involved now will see the huge benefits going forward into the next decade. So if they're really keen on adding something to their business that will make a huge difference, Wellbeing Coaches is the way forward, I think. So absolutely. Now, thank you very much for coming on, Glenda. Obviously, it is our 100th episode, so you were the only person going to come on this episode.
I feel very privileged and blessed.
Well, we'll get you back for the 200th, but by that point, you'll have had your 1 million people on the program, and we can celebrate that instead. But thank you ever so much for your time this morning, and as always, we will catch up soon.
Thank you, Ryan. It was an absolute pleasure, and again, congrats to you for the 100th episode.
Thank you very much.